After years of delays, Virgin Galactic was supposed to move operations to Spaceport America this month, but a deadly spacecraft crash in October has pushed that back yet again. Now the spaceport is facing a budget shortfall, and officials are scrambling to come up with cash. New Mexico's hope of being the first state with a booming space tourism industry is once again on hold. In late October, Virgin Galactic's Spaceship Two broke apart during a test flight in California.
That leaves somewhat of a shortfall because we were anticipating them coming and, beginning flights in the spring.
Now Spaceport America officials are hoping Virgin Galactic will move in late 2016. The expected shortfall in the meantime, about $1.7 million. Spaceport officials say they're looking at different ways to make that up, including film and commercial shoots, which they say have already brought in hundreds of thousands of dollars.
We've had General Motors and Aston Martin and Land Rover and Sony come out, and Kawasaki was the most recent.
Spaceport officials say they're currently in negotiations with several possible tenants, including Worldview Enterprises, a commercial balloon spaceflight company.
We're, Spaceport America, we're not Virgin Galactic Spaceport. We think there's some other business lines that are very complementary to what we're doing.
Paul Gessing, president of conservative research group the Rio Grande Foundation, has been highly critical of the nearly $250 million spaceport.
It was like building an airport before the Wright brothers had their first flight.
He says no one knows when space tourism will become viable, but the spaceport likely won't be viable for a while.
I don't think there's any way to make the spaceport successful unless we see regular, frequent space trips.
Spaceport officials are asking for emergency funding from lawmakers in case they don't land new tenants. The Spaceport Authority is also working on a new business plan they hope to release in the coming weeks. State officials are trying to find solutions to the problems plaguing New Mexico's most violent city. FBI numbers show Gallup saw a spike in violent crimes last year and had the highest violent crime rate in the state, twice as high as Albuquerque's. State Senator George Munoz, who represents that community, is pointing to alcoholism as a big source of the problem. He's holding a meeting tomorrow aimed at finding solutions to better treat those struggling with alcohol and drug issues. It'll be at the Lighthouse Church at 5:30. At least 4 people were stabbed on an Amtrak train in Michigan. Police say it happened Friday night after a man boarded the train in Chicago. The suspect allegedly attacked several people, including an Amtrak employee. One of those victims is in serious condition from a stab wound to the chest. One witness describes what she saw and when she first realized there was a problem.
I see him have his fist up, and then I bring it down, and I was like, oh my God, he's punching the guy. And then I saw him bring his fist back up, and I noticed that there was something in his fist resembling a knife blade.
Amtrak had to get extra buses and other transportation to help all the people who were stranded. The suspect is in custody. Call it a burglary gone wrong for the thief. The couple's quick thinking got a burglar sent to jail. Albuquerque police say a couple noticed a suspicious car in their driveway. While the husband went to investigate, his wife pulled out her camera. Police say she took photos of 20-year-old Randy Kowalczyk as he fled from her home and stole one of their guns. Those photos helped police catch Kowalczyk on Friday. A Corgi named Dodger, lost after an Albuquerque crash, is finally back home with his owner.
I missed you, Dodge. I missed you.
The two were reunited yesterday morning. The Prayers for Dodger group posted this video on their Facebook page. The little guy had gotten national attention after he went missing last month. Carly Kane and her son got into a crash on I-40 near the Sky City Casino. Dodger bolted, and 18 days later, a couple found him near there, barely alive. His vet said he was so dehydrated that his brain had swelled up. Dodger spent days on an IV at an emergency vet clinic in Albuquerque. Corgi lovers across the country are helping pay Dodger's vet bills, and they helped make this reunion possible. You still have time to find the perfect gift today. The Los Ranchos Shop and Stroll continues this morning at 11. Around 40 businesses throughout the village are participating. They'll be selling a variety of items, including crafts and antiques. Restaurants and bakeries have also joined in. Many will be offering discounts on regular prices and drawings for giveaway items. But before you head out for the shop and stroll or anywhere this holiday shopping season, we've got some tips for you. Recent data breaches show cash is probably the safest choice at the checkout counter, but for convenience, credit cards are a better option than debit. If credit card information is stolen or compromised, your liability is minimized, whereas a debit card thief could drain your bank account before you notice. With a mobile device, experts recommend using the web access using a 3G or 4G connection rather than an unsecured wireless network. Finally, save a record of all of your transactions. Filming for Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice appears to have wrapped up in New Mexico. The movie's cinematographer Larry Fong posted a couple of times on Instagram, hinting to the end of production near Deming. A couple of days ago, he posted a video of snow falling and the sentence, "That's a wrap." Then Friday, he posted a picture of snowy mountains and a cloudy sky. He wrote, "Farewell to the land of enchantment." People in Deming had spotted some of the actors at local restaurants, but not anymore. That movie isn't set to come out until May of 2016. A nuclear waste leak that contaminated more than a dozen workers has led to big fines from the state's Environment Department. The waste isolation pilot plant in Carlsbad and Los Alamos National Lab are now looking at more than 30 violations and more than $50 million in penalties. That waste leak happened back in February at WIP, and just days before that, there was a fire at the underground plant. At WIP, the problem centered around a canister of waste that leaked, contaminating 20 workers, forcing the plant to close. The state's 9-month investigation found 13 violations, carrying a fine of almost $18 million. Up at Los Alamos National Lab, it was even worse, with 24 violations and a cost of more than $36 million. The state says at Lanol, waste was improperly mixed and treated without a permit. The state will now go try and get that money from the Department of Energy and the contractors at each site. Don Hancock, who studies nuclear waste, says the fines come as no surprise, and he hopes it's a wake-up call for the facilities.
They need to accelerate complying with the permits, both because that will protect public health and the environment better, and it would limit the amount of future fines that they could be charged.
The $54 million penalty is the largest the state has ever dished out to the U.S. Department of Energy. Lanol pumps in more than $1.6 billion into New Mexico's economy. WIP almost $400 million. The DOE could try and get the fines lowered. News 13 tried to reach both facilities and the Department of Energy, but did not hear back. Several Albuquerque firefighters battled a pair of house fires yesterday morning. This is video of a home on Claremont near 2nd Street in the Northwest that had smoke pouring out of it. It's unclear if anyone was home at the time. A scheduled recount to figure out who the state's next land commissioner is supposed to begin tomorrow. According to the Santa Fe New Mexican, the recount should take about 2 days. There were only 704 votes separating incumbent Ray Powell and his Republican challenger Aubrey Dunn, but Powell has asked the Supreme Court to halt that recount. Powell says the recount wouldn't check the accuracy of tabulating machines. Dunn says the process is more accurate than Powell thinks. The recount should cost about $116,000. It may be the season of giving, but one thing you don't want to share is sickness. Newborns and infants are at risk for pertussis, also known as whooping cough. The disease is highly contagious and can lead to serious issues. Saban Dolan, a professor at Albert Einstein College of Medicine, says identifying pertussis isn't always easy.
A culture will actually do the trick to try to identify if they can really culture the pertussis bacteria. So the trick, though, is that you don't want to get to the point where you have symptoms and you're trying to distinguish between them.
The experts say it's important to have children vaccinated on time because they have immature immune systems that make them more susceptible to pertussis. Some Albuquerque kids are in for a day of fun today with the help of Cops for Kids. Albuquerque Police, the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Department, and BIA are working to make the day special for needy children. A group of kids will be treated to breakfast, then a shopping spree at Walmart with a $100 gift card, and then a play date at It's. They'll be sent home with holiday food baskets with turkeys and more to share with their families. And some first responders wrapped up their holiday shopping for the needy kids on their list yesterday. Firefighters, officers, and deputies in Albuquerque area were out shopping yesterday for those gifts. It's part of the Random Acts of Kindness charity. They have 200 children on their list this year. While out working, firefighters have been nominating the kids they think could use the gifts the most, and all the kids have already created their wish list.
The goal is to provide every single child that got nominated with a really amazing gift that they actually asked for. We don't just blindly shop for the kids based on age. We buy them something that they specifically requested.
Random Acts of Kindness is scheduled to have a wrapping party next weekend. Well, you might want to think twice about some of the toys on your holiday shopping list. New research shows injuries from toys have increased nearly 40% in the past 2 decades. The biggest reason, ride-on toys like scooters, wagons, tricycles, and motorized cars for kids. And a new crop of potential New Mexico State Police officers are heading to class. Orientation for the 88th recruit class begins at 8 this morning. There are 63 potential new recruits. The academy lasts for 22 weeks. Albuquerque police are on scene at a convenience store at 12th and Lomas. Police will say they're investigating a shooting at the 7-Eleven. The store is currently blocked off and the mobile crime lab is there. Details are scarce, but police will say that no one has died. Stay with us for more as this story develops both on air and online at KRQE.com.